Now we have finally entered the month of October. And with October comes one of the best seasons of all time. Something we all mess with. Something that probably makes us all feel great and thrive in our lives. Something that can take away the depression completely away from somebody as if it never happened and make them the happiest they've ever been. And that is horror! Now I'm gonna keep it 100 here. When it comes to different media, I hate horror, man. It's not my shit. I don't mess with it at all, man. If you're a person who can sit in the dark alone by themselves and watch a dark horror movie like The Conjuring or Smile and not get shook at it, you're a weirdo. I'm not gonna lie. You're a sicko. You're probably a murderer in disguise, you fiend. Get out my sight, man. But for real though, I've watched a decent amount of horror movies in my life and most of them are low-key good and interesting. When you watch it in broad daylight, I don't ever watch horror movies late at night. What do you think this is? That's what gets people overthinking, thinking a murderer is about to bust up in their crib. It's mad. But with some of the horror movies I've watched by myself and the different YouTube videos on people giving their opinions saying how they can survive certain horror movies or just straight up box with the villains in a fight as if these men were even on the same playing field. You will get smoked, you liar. You have no chance. But it got me thinking, what about a video about horror movies that you would definitely die in? Movies where plot armor wouldn't come to save you like it does with the MC and you get finessed in the first 10 seconds. Movies where living comfy in your crib would be your biggest downfall and now you have to have a one-on-one with a demon. Movies where you think it would be the easiest to survive but in reality you probably end it yourself. And I thought I'll bring up some movies I've seen that definitely fit these categories because you know, most horror movies hold you in the end. You ain't meant to win them, man. It's rigged. So without further ado, let's get into it, man. Beginning with... Now, I'm not gonna lie here, I've only seen a couple of Saw movies. The first 3 since they were all on Netflix, and then a while back I watched Jigsaw and Saw X. But I definitely have enough receipts to talk about these movies. Hopefully we're all familiar with the Saw series. If not, let me break it down for you. So in Saw, you get people who get put into scenarios where the Jigsaw murderer, which in the first movie is known as a man named John Kramer, who's out here putting certain types of bad people like criminals, addicts, or just straight up dickheads into death traps. And his whole ideology behind this is that he says he's out here testing their will to survive. And he sits in his chair justifying it, saying that he's not a murderer as he's giving you an option to survive, acting as a means of justice towards certain people whose lives got messed over by the same people Jigsaw put into the traps. Which would make sense if Jigsaw wasn't out here rigging this shit, because you'll never win. He's a liar. This guy's the most bullshit murderer I've ever seen. He literally abducts people and puts them in hold scenarios where there's no way of coming out. You're finished. For example, in Saw 1, we have the iconic reverse bear trap, which Amanda Young was put in by Kramer to test her. And luckily enough, she was able to win and get the trap off her head. But to do this, she had to kill her cellmate by stabbing him in the stomach while he was still alive and taking out the key to unlock the bear trap. Now, I'm not gonna lie here. Jigsaw rigged this trap so she could win. This some bullshit. He gave her the most freest pass she could ever have to win. She literally had to do nothing to herself. She had to take somebody else out for her own survival. And in most case scenarios, that's very possible. That's mad achievable. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still pretty dark, but still, you can do that. And compared to the rest of the Saw traps other people went through, this shit is mad easy, bro. It was easy. And then right after this, Amanda goes ahead to become the apprentice to Jigsaw, who is also out here designing and holding people by putting them in certain death traps they definitely wouldn't win. And right after this trap, you see the rest of them throughout the movies. Yeah, end it all, man. The next I want to bring to your attention is the flammable jelly trap. And in this trap, Jigsaw's put a man in a room and has poisoned him. And the only way to get the antidote is to get into the safe. But to get into the safe, you have to find a combination. And the combination is somewhere on the walls of the room. Now, in the room, it's dark as shit. So to even read the walls, Mark, who's the guy who gets put into the test, has to use a candle to read it. But you see, he's covered in jelly that can light him on fire. Not to mention, Jigsaw put broken glass on the floor. And that was definitely put there on purpose to make this guy stumble. Now in this trap, what the hell can you do, man? You're walking on broken glass, cutting up your feet, which is most likely gonna mess up your balance. Then on top of that, you have to go around the room with a candle that can burn you alive if you even face the light a little bit towards you. And the worst bit about this, the whole logic behind it, the thinking process, the crazy idea that drove Kramer to put him in this trap in the first place, was because the man missed work. This man just wasn't pulling up to his corporate job, which I know for a fact millions of people do. Everybody bunks shit. I never joined my lessons in lockdown. I was out here playing OG Fortnite. I was never going to school. And just because he didn't go to work, he killed him. He's a hater, man. How is this justice? Giant corporations are evil anyway. Kramer, you might as well admit you're part of them. You're evil. The possible chance that you would survive the flammable death trap is the 1%. I'll give you the 1 because, you know, RNG can come and lock sometimes. You might pull through. but you probably won't. The reverse bear trap Amanda went through is a 40% chance, because even though it's one of the easiest ones to get through, you only have 1 minute to get it done, and you also have to kill somebody. And your mental state is definitely going to be mashed up. Your brain will probably start doing backflips, getting you to waste time. So in turn, you probably just waste enough time to get packed. You're finished there. And then there's a lot more other traps throughout the entire series that just full on hold everyone. Like the bathroom in the first movie, you had to chop your leg off. But as soon as you do that, you will die, bro. You'll probably bleed to death. You'll pass out. The angel trap, finished. Because even if you somehow get the key out of the acid, the key probably would have dissolved so much, because at first you probably hesitate to get it. Then by the time you actually get the key out, it wouldn't work anymore. So it's unbeatable. It's some bullshit. And John himself just makes shit mad personal, because in Saw 2, throughout the whole movie, he just wanted to get at Eric Matthews by using his son. And he put his son into a game. And compared to everybody else who was there, he didn't do nothing. And you know how old he was when he was in the game? He was 14. What shit could a 14-year-old do? So what was the point of using him when Kramer is enough of a genius and had Amanda working beside him that he could have just kidnapped Eric somewhere else? How did it end up with him taking his son? Or he could have died in there. That's mad. This is the same guy who says he acts out of justice, but then he went for a kid. He's a sicko, man. Get him out of here. But look though, there's a bunch of traps in Saw that are rigged to go against you. Like the whole game in itself is like a 30-70 chance of survival. The odds are against you from jump. Like you're better off sleeping in the corner than you are to try and survive. Just let it happen to you. Because this guy doesn't even want you to think that you can win. As soon as he puts you in the game, he might as well just shot you in the face. His games are fake. He wants you to die. And if I was a player in Jigsaw's traps, well, hopefully I wouldn't be. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't do shit. Now, when it comes to A Quiet Place, it looks like it's not that hard to survive. I'll be so real. Once again, I haven't seen all the movies, only the first one. But from what I've seen, is that all you have to do is stay quiet, move in silence, don't move a muscle, and take a vow to never speak or move a certain way for the rest of your life. Yeah, that's impossible. Even though the bar to survive in this movie compared to most horror is definitely lower, it's tedious as hell. You have to consistently stay quiet, otherwise you will die. The family in the movie were walking outside with no shoes. That's how bad it is. So for me to even think I have a chance of surviving in A Quiet Place, I'm cooked. You mean to tell me if I was taking a fat number 2, as soon as it hits the water, the aliens are just gonna come finesse my head top? What are we talking about here? It's unsustainable to be that quiet for so long. It's not about it being a difficult world to move through. In fact, the world itself doesn't even look that bad. The family looked like they had a good situation going on with their farm. They were eating dinner normally. They were playing board games. And they even play music sometimes through their earphones. Like, it looked calm. But then as soon as you do something like fart in your sleep, you're dead. And as a normal person, there is no way you'd solo a death angel. These men are built different. They're out here running at top speeds like how Amanda move when they're getting chased. They can cut through practically anything easily with them finessing the car in the movie. They're bulletproof, which means even if you find a gun, it wouldn't work on them. It will just get you deleted. And then they have super echolocation. So it's like they can see with their hearing. So to the average person, they're stacked. You ain't surviving. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it were me, I'd probably be tempted to slap one in the face. They're just the lanky xenomorph. I'd be way too curious. This shit would definitely get me killed. But it's more so that in these grounds, they're dominating. It's like being Michael Jordan in '96. You'd be smoking everyone. Also, you can't afford to be tempted to do anything and everything in this world that will make any noise. If I was out here in an apocalyptic supermarket and I saw a bag of Sensations Thai sweet chili crisps, you might need to listen to me. Look in here, because these crisps are heaven. It has a perfect crunch to it. The sweet chili is amazing, and it's just an enjoyable and different experience. Is what you should write on my tombstone, because I'm eating them, man. If I want to make some fried chicken, I'm probably gonna die as well. If I owned a farm and on that farm I had a bunch of different animals like cows and chickens, if I was milking a cow and it goes moo, I'm dead. If I were to open a door and it creaks, I'm dead. If me and my wife are about to get passionate, intimate, get into the business and preserve the human race, I'm gonna die. What you want to do here, man? There's only so much I can't do. I'm just a man. And let's say by God's grace you had the deaf angel's weakness, which is any high frequency sound like the daughter used without hearing it. Even then, you would still die, because God forbid that whatever sound you use would only work on a deaf angel that's near or in front of you. As soon as you kill that one, like in the movie, more would come running for you. They'll be out here sprinting at 99 miles per hour to come and finesse you. They have numbers, so it's over. Best case scenario is if you get the same exact outcome as the mother and daughter did, with her just being able to blam the alien right after they start hearing the sound. But then right after that happens, Just accept your fate, bro. You're finished. Look, I'm not saying that Quiet Place is a hard world to survive in. It's just difficult and annoying to be consistently quiet in. Comparing this to other apocalyptic places like The Walking Dead, The Last of Us, or flipping Daybreak, you have a better chance of surviving in a quiet place than these others. Because in those shows, you have to navigate zombies who can see and hear you. It's double trouble. And even though they're not bulletproof and die much easier, you can then again just get finessed by the numbers. The only way I could see myself surviving in a quiet place is either if I live right on top or right next to a waterfall, or I just pull a Disney and live on top of Paradise Falls. Either way, my life is over here. Before I even go over why I think I'd almost have no chance of surviving Get Out, I'm gonna give the best way you can never be in this situation at first. The most obvious reason that will save your life and keep you breathing. The one thing that's right in front of you that makes the most sense is to just not be tempted by the snow. And I know what you think I'm asking of you is crazy and impossible, but trust me, as a young black man, I know how hard it is to be tempted by the white chocolate. I know from my previous ventures, sometimes you get too addicted to it. But my brothers, we must learn to leave that kind of food behind, because white chocolate is full of a bunch of food coloring, chemicals, and preservatives, whereas dark chocolate is all natural and comes straight from the trees. My brothers, stay strong, because we must be free, man. We must be free. But anyways, let's say I wasn't Get Out. It's over, man. I'm dying. When it comes down to it, if you were in Chris's scenario and got invited down to go see your girlfriend's family, you probably wouldn't think anything of it at first. You would take her word for it. Unless it became so bait that they were trying to con you into taking over your body, when at the start of the movie, it wasn't even like that. They greeted him nicely and came off as a normal family. Even when her brother started moving mad weird during the family dinner, out here talking about frame and genetic makeup, it's sus, I ain't gonna lie. But surely because you love your girlfriend and you want to make a good first impression in front of her family, you'd probably film it. And when it came to other interactions like her mom helping Chris with his smoking addiction, he looked at it as a win at first rather than an uncomfortable experience. So instead of pointing out red flags early, there was a lot to convince Chris that it was calm out here. Other things like the groundskeeper being well spoken, your phone not being charged, or even the Fed near the start of the movie being racist are a bunch of things that you'd most likely be unfazed by. Because to you, it might just be a couple of common occurrences or coincidences. But then, as soon as you get to the gathering and everybody out here in every conversation you have is talking about your race, your build, your flipping wood, yeah, by that point, I'd be uncomfortable as shit. They're weird. I'm dipping out of there, man. I would cut. And the more and more black people turning up being a lot more well-spoken would eventually make me feel like, whose mess is this? Go home. So by this point, I'd be creeped out by these men. I would want to go home. And being a loving and supportive person in a relationship, I would turn to the woman I love, who is also trying to kill me. The biggest obstacle here for me would be my lady. She would be my biggest downfall. She would set me up and I would actually go through with it. Love is a bitch, man. But let's say I get out the chair like Kristen and knock out her brother. You're telling me I'm supposed to just John Wick my way out of there, make my way through the crib without anyone noticing, get into a car, and just drive off? I mean, I probably could, but don't forget, Rose has a rifle, bro. She probably would hear me even coming up the stairs, and then I'm dead. She was really searching up NCAA players and eating cereal and drinking milk separately. She's a psycho. Bro, as soon as you see the photos of her with multiple different black people, it's over. Your chances are gone. You're finished. And real quick, I want to go back to talking about the groundskeeper grandpa and the maid grandma. And I'd be damned if I ever hear somebody say the word doggone keeper. Like, what the hell is that, man? I'm a black person from London. People already assume we speak posh as shit. On some, hello, governor. Hip hip cheerio. Julie, make me a cup of tea, will you, love? 2 sugars, please. No, we don't move like that, bro. We be on some, Obama who? Obama what? Obama blood clot, yang. It's weird. So coming from a country that's stereotyped to be very well spoken, I knew this guy was already strange. And when it came to the maid, she was out here saying the word tattletale. Who calls anyone a tattletale? Snake, rat, snitch. These are common names used to talk about people that stab you in the back. But her being confused for the longest time trying to figure out what Chris meant was like, have you ever been a kid before? Holy shit. And at her first impression as well, don't forget that they're in the bodies of people Rose lured back to her family to have their bodies taken over. So physically they look young, but they're out here being confused by different words for snitch and calling people a doggone keeper. Get out of here, man. And when my man was talking about the African American experience, saying it was positive, I'm from England and I knew that was some bullshit. This movie is kind of shaky to attempt an escape out of, only because I think I'd firm a lot and think differently of just being in a relationship until it was too late. That shit would get me killed. And if you were to try and survive this movie, you would either have to never visit her family. I'm talking about you make sick excuses every single time and bring up some next up bullshit just saying you don't want to go. Or you do go, you find out all the shit, then you sneak out at night when they're all sleeping and get the hell out of there, man. But in all honesty, once you sit down to have dinner with her family, You ain't coming back, bro. You're done. But hey, in honor of spooky season, these were some horror movies I'd sign out of if I were in them. If you got any ways you'd survive or other movies I didn't mention, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you for watching this far. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.